They have politicians. It's nothing like that. They're for the labor class. We're for eliminating the labor class as soon as possible through automation and technology, and people can go back to school and do what they want.
But okay, well, who's going to design the buildings then? That's a job, isn't it?
The buildings are already designed.
But you just said those buildings will evolve, and if the lifts don't work and Granny can't get to her exercise class...
We build the first city, and that city has the planners in it first. The planners and the people that work out the details. The second city, we level some of the old cities and keep some of it as museum cities to show people how people used to live. We level the old cities and mine it for the iron, glass, and other materials, and recycle it back into new cities that are fireproof, earthquake-proof, and there's no automobiles. There's circular elevators that take you anywhere. Here's where I got the idea. Radio City, New York, the Empire State Building, takes 1 million people up and down and never crash into one another. So we turn the elevators out that way. So you dial where you want to go, the Art Center, Music Center, just like an elevator, and it takes you there. Putting people in automobiles is a stupid thing. More people are killed on the highways than war. And you say drive safely. Those are words. We don't have drive safely. During the transition, the automobiles have a sensor on it. So if I'm 40 feet away from your car, if I got mad at you, I couldn't hit you. The sensor would stop my car. That's what I mean by intelligent management of the Earth's resources. Politicians cannot do that. They don't understand technology. Today the problems are technical, not political. As soon as people get that through their heads, if they do, they'll understand that war is the most corrupt, supreme failure of nations to bridge the difference. You have a Pentagon in Washington that defends this country. Well, what happened at Pearl Harbor, we gave them radar, and the kids detected the enemy planes coming over. And they called their captain. He says, probably our planes. What the hell good are these people if they don't know how to defend it? Then the people that couldn't afford armies hijacked 2 airplanes and flew into the trade centers, you see. And we never said, why did they do that? How can we build so much hatred into people? What did we do in the past? Nobody seems to know that.
Well, Jacques, a lot of people who watch this program believe that it was the American government that flew those planes into the World Trade. Yes, a conspiracy.
I don't buy that, but I think that American government is stupid. They do a lot of stupid things, but not that stupid.
So you don't think, you think that was...
I don't buy the conspiracy.
Some people with box cutters who hijacked those airplanes?
I don't buy it. Okay?
Okay.
Next question.
All right. Let's say, for a moment, looking into the future, that everybody on the planet goes, Jacques, that's a great idea. We'll stop making weapons. We'll start building this new utopia.
Who's in that word, utopia?
Okay.
It implies a final state.
Okay. Well, this Venus project idea. Okay.
A better means of living.
A better means of living. Let's say everyone adopts your idea for a better means of living.
Okay.
Who's in charge?
Okay. During the transition from the old monetary system to the resource-based economy, which you didn't ask me how the new economy works.
We'll get to that.
During the transition, there will be trouble, crime, murder, everything you have today. If we get to the point of automation as we want it, I then believe that when people have access to the necessities of life, they do not steal. If you made a public library where anyone can get a book, that's wonderful. But they fought the women that marched for that. They threw rotten eggs at them. Let me finish. They threw rotten eggs at them. All the trouble you have for every bit of change, of social change, there was always a minority beat up, put in jail, you know, for the difference. So I'm saying this. If you do that, you hold back the future. You should not be afraid of ideas. Listen to all kinds of ideas and reject those that you feel won't work or question it.
But you didn't answer the question, Jack. Who's in charge?
Okay. During the transition, the people that have studied the Venus Project and how it works are not in charge. You're asking me who makes the decisions and who has the right to make decisions and by what authority. Does the public participate? Is it a democracy or is it a dictatorship of technology? It's not a dictatorship of technology. I want to say this because scientists are just as dumb as everyone else. They're part of the same institutions. They write books on why man can't fly. The Wright brothers never read their books, so they built a flying machine. Edison was a nothing, and he gave us many things. So don't think the establishment gives you ideas. Some American develops a new carburetor in his garage, and he sells it to General Motors. And General Motors says, and now General Motors brings you. You don't know where that came from. When I worked for Douglas Aircraft, everything I thought of belonged to Douglas and the Northrop Division. Did you know that?
Well, yes.
Even when I went home and thought of ideas, it belonged to them.
I can understand how that
And
works.
that, to me, is corrupt.
Okay, we've talked about that, and I mean, I like the way you think you've got
The
great
transition
ideas.
will be
but
troublesome.
Jack, you've got to answer the question: who makes the decisions?
No one. Here's how it's done. They are under the orders of a scientific group, the Venus Plan, which is written out. What they do is take samples of the soil, say from all over England, and it goes to Central Agriculture. There they analyze the soil, and by the contents they say it's best to grow apple trees with that soil. That's not an opinion, that's a finding. No more opinions, no more what do you think, what do you think.
But
we measure. Yes.
Who decides which scientists
I
make
am
the decisions?
proposing a system.
This is a
and
scientopoly, isn't it? This is a...
No, if people agree upon this direction, which is using the scientific method applied to the social system, which means using science and technology to improve the lives of everyone and the environment. Today, when there's money in it, the bottom line is money, and it's not for the well-being of people. They don't really care about people. It's for the bottom line and for industry and for certain people's advantage. But in the resource-based economy, is what we call it, then the bottom line is the benefit of people. So you don't make, first you take a survey of what we have all over the world. This is a global system. So you take a survey of what we have in resources, technology, personnel, and,
Okay, who decides that we take a survey?
We are laying out a
enacts
direction.
The survey? Who puts the
Venus
decision
Project
into...
is, if people go along with what the Venus Project advocates, which is the betterment of humankind, then we have a process level as to how to feed, house, and clothe people all over the world. When you want to make a bridge, you don't go to Aunt Minnie who has a pastry restaurant. You go to people who make bridges, who have a history and who have experience in that. And so but they don't have say in the government. There is no government. They don't have say in the direction of society. We lay out a direction, and that's our end goal is to make a better world, make people creative, make people the highest potential that they can be, change school systems for that, and use the intelligent management of the Earth's resources. So how do you do that? By people who know how to build bridges. You go to people who can house people. You go to people who can make low-cost houses quickly using clean sources of energy, make them energy efficient, make them go together quickly. We're not looking for architects who build out of ego. We're looking for the end problem, which is to house people.
All right, we'll get to the point of the resource economy and no money in a minute. But I still want to. I'm sorry to labour the point, but I'm the devil's advocate here, and I still don't understand who decides to do stuff. And it's all very well saying, bridge builders build bridges, house builders build houses, or machines build houses directed by house builders or whatever.
I understand
but
your question.
who is in power?
Okay. The Venus Project designed a procedure for attaining a future. If the majority of people want that, it'll happen. If they don't, it won't happen.
So there'll be
if
democracy
they decide
then.
that they want it,
So it's a majority vote, is that what you're saying?
no, if the majority can understand the procedures of the Venus Project, they may or may not understand it. I can only present the way to deal with problems, because people come to me all the time and say, can you make three-dimension movies without glasses? I've done all that. I've designed artificial legs for doctors, hospital equipment, surgical instruments, but if the guy didn't have the money, he couldn't buy the artificial leg. So I didn't like that, and I said, Jacques, you've got to design a society that works. Don't spend your time on invention. So I said to myself, how do you know your system will work? I says, I don't. I learned that from the scientific method. So I said, why don't you put your system to test? So I joined the Ku Klux Klan in Miami and dissolved it in a month and a half. Then I joined the White Citizens Council alone. They hate foreigners, and dissolved that in 1 month. Then in New York City, I said, what are some of the most backward people in the area? The consensus were the Arabs. I said, what makes you think they're backward? They still believe the earth is flat. So I said, boy, I better get in there and try to turn them around. And if I can't turn them around, I can't change society. Not a theory on paper, a nice little utopia where everything works well. That's BS, bad science. So I'm saying to you that I called up the Arabs and I said, can I meet with you?